In 2016, a wave of unexplained illnesses struck American and Canadian diplomats stationed in Havana, Cuba. These individuals reported a range of debilitating symptoms, a perplexing phenomenon that soon became known as Havana Syndrome. The initial cases sparked confusion and concern as medical professionals struggled to identify the root cause of the ailments. The symptoms, which varied from person to person, included severe headaches, nausea, dizziness, and cognitive difficulties. Some individuals also experienced a ringing in their ears or a sensation of pressure in their heads. The sudden onset and severity of these symptoms led to speculation about a possible attack on diplomatic personnel. Initial theories ranged from exposure to toxic chemicals to the use of sophisticated sonic weapons. However, no conclusive evidence emerged to support these claims, deepening the mystery surrounding Havana Syndrome. As more cases were reported, the US government launched an investigation to determine the cause of the illnesses and identify those responsible. The investigation involved medical examinations of the affected individuals, as well as environmental assessments of their homes and workplaces. Despite these efforts, the cause of Havana Syndrome remained elusive, fueling speculation and raising concerns about the safety of diplomats and intelligence officers stationed overseas. The mysterious nature of the illnesses and the lack of a clear explanation only heightened the anxiety and fear among those affected and their families. As investigations into Havana Syndrome progressed, one theory gained traction: directed energy weapons, or DUs. DUs are devices that emit focused beams of electromagnetic radiation, including microwaves and radio waves. These weapons have the potential to cause a range of effects, from disrupting electronic equipment to inflicting physical harm on humans. The possibility that DWs could be responsible for the symptoms observed in Havana Syndrome victims was both alarming and intriguing. DUs work by concentrating energy into a narrow beam that can be directed at a specific target. The effects of DUs on the human body vary depending on the frequency and intensity of the radiation. High-intensity microwaves, for example, can heat body tissues, causing burns and other injuries. Lower-intensity microwaves, on the other hand, can interfere with the nervous system, potentially leading to neurological symptoms. The theory that DWs could be behind Havana Syndrome was bolstered by the fact that some victims reported hearing strange sounds or feeling a pressure sensation just before they fell ill. These sensations could be consistent with exposure to certain types of DUs. However, proving that DUs were used in the Havana cases has proven to be extremely challenging. The investigation into Havana Syndrome has been hampered by a number of factors, including the difficulty in detecting and measuring the effects of DWs. Unlike conventional weapons, DWs leave no visible traces or physical evidence. This makes it difficult to determine whether or not a DW was used in a particular incident. Furthermore, the symptoms of DW exposure can be similar to those caused by other factors, such as stress, anxiety, or exposure to environmental toxins. This makes it challenging to definitively link the symptoms observed in Havana Syndrome victims to DW exposure. Despite these challenges, a growing body of evidence suggests that DWs could be a plausible explanation for at least some of the Havana Syndrome cases. In 2020, a report by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering and Medicine concluded that directed pulsed radio frequency energy was the most likely cause of the symptoms experienced by some of the diplomats and intelligence officers affected in Cuba and elsewhere. The report's findings were based on a review of medical records, interviews with victims, and analysis of intelligence information. While the report stopped short of definitively attributing the attacks to a specific country or actor, it lent credence to the theory that DWs were involved. The report also acknowledged the limitations of the available evidence and called for further research into the health effects of DWs. The findings of the National Academy's report have been met with mixed reactions. The Havana Syndrome incidents have raised serious concerns about the potential threat posed by DEWs. As technology advances, DEWs are becoming increasingly powerful and sophisticated, making them more difficult to detect and defend against. The incidents have also highlighted the need for greater awareness and understanding of the potential health effects of DEWs. Governments and international organizations must work together to establish international norms and regulations governing the development and use of these weapons. More research is needed to better understand the long-term health consequences of DW exposure and to develop effective countermeasures. In the meantime, it is crucial that governments take steps to protect their personnel from potential DEW attacks. This includes providing diplomats and intelligence officers with information about the risks of DEWs, as well as training on how to recognize the symptoms of DEW exposure. The Havana Syndrome incidents serve as a stark reminder of the evolving nature of threats in the 21st century. As technology advances, new and potentially dangerous weapons are emerging, posing challenges for national security and public safety. Addressing these challenges will require a concerted effort from governments, scientists, and the international community to ensure that these weapons are not used to harm innocent people.